Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Crypto Night Show. Your host, Superman in the house. Man, breaking news, of course. Richard Hart's video has just come out, and man, what an awesome day it is. The news just keeps getting better and better. Of course, Pulse Chain is probably rallying on that news again, so pretty exciting. And we're going to check out the video. So we're going to do a live stream reaction video to Richard Hart, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And of course, we're going to get into topics about beating the SEC, and of course, maybe a little bit about what Richard's doing, as well as the future of Pulse Chain and all the cool things in crypto. So we're going to have a bit of everything. Let's get straight into it. Get into the chat. Leave your comments. Really appreciate that as we go. We got big Dripper in the house there. Good to see a Big Dripper. Welcome to the chat as well. But let's get straight into the show and get into this video.
Hello, everybody. Cool. Richard Hart here. Guess who just beat the SEC in court and did not settle and did not have their case dropped?
So we're going to play this
guy.
And,
me. I did that. And you know why I did that? Well, 1, I'm innocent. 2, I've got great lawyers. 3, the government decided to bring a really stupid case against a really honest person. And guess what happened? The judge saw through it and dismissed the case in its entirety, something that almost no other cryptocurrency has ever achieved. And they didn't just charge me. They charged me, Hex, Pulse Chain, PulseX. They actually charged software as a defendant. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine math that you can run at home and execute on your own, charging it as a defendant? Unbelievable, right? It would set a terrible precedent for all of open source software everywhere, where anybody that ran anything anywhere would somehow encumber the founder and the publisher with some type of liability. Insane. Terrible. And I beat them in court. The case was not dropped. The case was not settled. We beat them in court, and we got something that I hear is better than a judgment with prejudice, and that is a judgment on the merits, in favor of judgment, where it's not a question who the victor was me. And Pulse Chain and PulseX and Hex, but it's a little bit weird to call software code that you could run at the privacy of your own home a victor, but since they were silly enough to charge them as defendants, well, I guess, the judge also had to declare them as victors. Very, very silly. And if you go and read the actual oral arguments in front of the judge, it looks really awesome for the innocent guy, me. It sucks that in this world where you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, you have this massive chilling effect against your free speech because there's a team of guys sitting in a room combing through everything you've ever said and anything you're saying and anything that you might say and looking for something to screw you up on. It's happened to President Donald Trump. It's happened to a lot of people in cryptocurrency, sadly. And then it happened to me. But I didn't settle like everyone else. And by the way, a lot of people were filing amicus briefs and people in the industry were helping each other out and, putting up a united fight, a united stand. Nobody in the industry helped me. Not at all. Not a little bit. So we did it on our own, just like we did everything else. The S-load fee got raised. Oh, well, no problem. S-load fee and the transactions are looking nice and affordable on Pulse Chain. We removed you from the front end. Uniswap had removed Hex from the front end. They have since added it since we won in court. They've added Hex back to the front end on the Ethereum network. And it's like, why would you charge, if not the most honest person in crypto, one of the most honest people in crypto, with lying, and then go through hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of the video and send subpoena and subpoena and subpoena and subpoena the whole universe. And then, when the judge asks you, okay, well, show me the lie, you're just like, I don't know. I don't know where the lie is, Your Honor. It's terrible and costly and silly and a waste of the government's resources. They could have been out there, doing good in the world, getting bad guys, and there's no shortage of bad guys to get. So, moral of the story, if you come at the king, you're going to lose. I've prepared for this my whole life. I did as much research as I could. I researched the law to the best of my ability, and I was right and everyone else was wrong. And
that's so true, right? And of course, if you guys remember back with Hex, Richard was the first one to do economic audits, tokenomic audits, basically, legal opinions as well around the Howey test. And he was prepared for this and come home to roost. And of course, he also had the character and fortitude to defend himself against the SEC. And like he says, on his own, he had to get his lawyers arranged and really win the battle. And he did against the whole industry, even against him as well, like Uniswap. So really, really impressive there from Richard.
Thank you to the Honorable Judge Amon, the federal district judge in the Eastern District of New York, that saw through the lies. And there were a lot of lies, misquotations, just disgusting behavior. Maybe not as.
Yeah. Hey, look. I mean, the write up against Richard from the legal case was just dreadful. It was poorly written, poorly executed, and full of lies and misrepresentation. So it was good that the judge saw through all that. Very impressive.
Disgusting as the debt box case, but pretty disgusting. I mean, they got full sanctions in the debt box case for a number of lies the SEC did, telling lies to the judge in that case. Yeah, I had a remote control hit record. I accidentally stopped it. Rage. Haven't done a video in a while. So, what's new? Well, we've got, with this new legal clarity that almost no other coin in the world has, including Ethereum, no one's willing to go on record and say Ethereum's not a security. I mean, I think I heard somebody from the CFTC say that, but nobody from the SEC that I'm aware of has gone on record saying that. Look, I think that software that you run in the privacy of your own home is unlikely to be a security. So I would prefer a world where people can make their own decisions. For a disclosure-based regulator to pretend the disclosures don't matter is just wild. Well, anyway, long story short, I won, they lost, I was right, everyone else was wrong. And that's what happens when you're honest. You have the facts on your side. There's a lot of people out there that aren't honest. They say a lot of things that aren't true. They mislead you. A lot of people that launch coins suck, and a lot of coins that launch suck, which is why I don't talk about many coins. Very, very few. I don't like to talk about many coins because so many of them are garbage. But that's life. So many outfits that you could wear suck. So many things you could say suck. You really have to curate. That's why DJs exist. They play music that's good. And that's why, you try and follow people that are smart. You try and learn from people that have experience. How many things have we seen fail while Hex has operated flawlessly, Pulse Chain's operated flawlessly? Tons of things. Billions and billions and billions of dollars lost all over the place by people that think they're better than you. But you didn't lose $1 billion. They did. there's no self-awareness in this industry. They don't realize who the good actors are. I'm a good actor, and a lot of other people out there are not.
And of course, we saw Richard Hart talk about this with a lot of his market calls about all these CeFi guys that were calling out Richard, and they all ended up being, either criminals or their crypto collapsed. And of course, Richard ended up having to fight the good fight, and he was trying to do the right thing. And here we are with a victory today in court, which is pretty exciting.
So with this new regulatory certainty, either people are going to work with us, because what's missing, right? You've got a unique product and a unique feature with time locking and Hex. You've got a faster, cheaper Ethereum in Pulse Chain that has higher throughput, lower latency, lower fees, and none of the L2 vampires. Hey guys, you tried the L2 thing. It didn't work out, huh? You regret that now, don't you? Yeah. Come to an L1. Come to Pulse Chain. It's more secure, more composable. It's the idea that they incentivize people to steal brand awareness from Ethereum using L2s and then fracture liquidity and then introduce latency and then introduce massive risk. The majority of these L2s, the vast majority, if they turn off their centralized sequencer, you can't transact anymore. Your money's gone. Bye-bye. Are you in blockchain for trusted counterparty risk? I'm in blockchain for trustlessness. I'm in blockchain for permissionlessness. I'm in blockchain for doing things that make the world a better place. Having to beg someone for your money is the opposite of why the blockchain was invented, and that's all L2s are. 99% of them. Absolutely terrible decision from the Ethereum guys, and their price chart has paid the price for it. It's down over 4 years now. That sucks.
Yeah, layer 2's kind of eating the lunch there of layer 1's, and it's probably a good reason why Richard's not doing a lot of the stuff related to EIPs perhaps.
Be 5K now. It's what, 1,400 a few weeks ago. I think 1,800 now. That sucks, man. $1,800 Ethereum sucks, especially when gold's at all-time highs, Bitcoin's nearing all-time highs again. Do I think it'll get back up? Yep, I do, especially if institutions are buying, which they are. How many ETFs are there out there right now? Bitcoin, Ethereum.
Yeah, and that's what I've been saying, right? Ethereum will have its day in the sun. It's got institutional backing. And maybe these EIEP upgrades will help a lot with the 2028 ETH upgrading from 28. So it's definitely looking positive, I think.
The two large ones. So if your thesis is that institutions are going to be the guys that are buying, well, it's nice to have an ETF. Now, that being said, Ethereum and Bitcoin did really, really well before they had ETFs, when they had lower market caps, right? So take, for instance, the liquidity that you see in Pulse Chain, Pulse XX. You could get a God candle at any moment. You could get a giant green candle at any moment.
Okay, it's some magic right now. I mean, that's so true, right? We could get the liquidity's been thinned out. We know it. I've been saying it every day. It is definitely hearing Richard talk like this is pretty good.
Any moment, because it's easier to get them, because it takes less economic energy, because there's less of it for sale.
Yeah.
Pulse Chain has less inflation than both Ethereum and Hex and Bitcoin. But what has even less inflation than Pulse Chain is Pulse X. Pulse X has deflation. There's less Pulse X now than there's ever been. And for the rest of time, there will always be less Pulse X than there's ever been, because it only burns and it can never inflate. And, I think 1.4 trillion of it has been burned so far. That's a lot. And and the Richard Hart Twitter account, you can see a guide on how to go into the Block Explorer and look at the contract and just look at the number of burnt PLSX. And if you click the GWEI, GWEI checkbox, it'll remove a bunch of zeros and show you the Pulse X number, because it has a bunch of extra zeros for resolution. It's how many when you add a new token, it asks you how many decimals it has. It has a lot of decimals. So we got great news. We've got regulatory certainty that almost no other coin has. If people don't start doing nice things for us, working with us, listing, etc., I wouldn't be surprised to see people just start up competitors. The regulatory environment's never been nicer. I mean, you had a memo from Todd Blanche of the Department of Justice, which specifically was titled Ending Regulation by Enforcement, or Ending Regulation by Prosecution. And he said that a lot of people were being prosecuted for things they shouldn't be. It's a really great memo. You should read it. It's by the Deputy Attorney General of the United States, Todd Blanche. I think he's the second in command of the Department of Justice underneath Pam Bondi. So, it's I think it's President, Pam Bondi, Todd Blanche. Well, that's about as high up as you're going to get. And, it set regulatory priorities to do things that would help enforce laws and help people, stop getting robbed and a lot of other really good things. Let the SEC do their job. Let law enforcement do its job. Writing regulations is not something that the Department of Justice is supposed to do. The legislative branch is supposed to write laws. The executive branch is supposed to enforce laws. The executive branch is not supposed to write laws. It's checks and balances. Three branches of government: executive, judicial, legislative. And I'm glad. It would be nice if the executive stopped doing a denial of service attack on the judicial by doing less bad things that the judicial had to unwind. So 2 years ago, the executive decided to file a bad lawsuit against me and Hex and Pulse Chain and chill our free speech and chill our ability to publish free and open source software that is used by others to publish and associate their thoughts publicly.
Yeah, I love this theme from Richard around blockchain being speech. And of course, it comes back down to the First Amendment. In the United States, we don't have that here in New Zealand, but Wish we did. I wish we did. It would be very useful.
That's wild. And then they sent out all these subpoenas to people that are basically reporters doing their own research and reporting what they find. Original researchers, people in our community, they're not spouting off things that they read from somebody else like a normal reporter reading a teleprompter. They're doing their own original research, and they should have the same protections against interference with the media process, where you go and you learn and you publish to the public things that they could improve their lives with, knowledge, like what I'm doing with you right now. I am stating to you verifiable facts that I hope will make your life better. For instance, there was a conference that I didn't know about called Pulse Chain 2055 conference. I guess we love the 5/5s.
Yeah, shout out to RH Max running that. I think a 2 days conference. That was pretty good. So I've heard pretty good things about it. So definitely check out RH Max and the Pulse Chain conference there.
For instance, the maximum length stake that you can make is 5,555 days in hex. The hex.com diamond has 555.55 carats and 55 facets. And then the judgment came out on May 5th, which is 5/5 of 2025. It's just funny. I think numerology is stupid. I don't believe in it. But branding.
I'm glad to hear him say that, because I agree 100%. It's pretty mad. We know some people like it out there. You guys know who they are. But yeah.
And shelling points and everyone kind of focusing on the same thing. It's kind of fun, right? It's good for just for fun. So and it's also funny, the final judgment is like document ID number 888 or something. Now I'm telling you, like, numerology is stupid and I don't like it, but these are just a couple of things that popped out at me. It's just funny. So where was I? I don't know.
Well, he's clearly in a pretty cool mood, and it's great to see. It's a lot of pressure to take on the SEC, and to defeat them and then to enjoy it is well deserved.
I don't have a script. I'm just telling you the truth as I know it. So we had a beautiful document from Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General of the United States Department of Justice, trying to get rid of all this waste of resources and misallocation of resources that's making the United States a worse place and injuring what Donald Trump, the President of the United States, has declared by executive order to be a critical industry. So do you want to help the United States? Are you subject to the command of the Supreme Commander of the United States, the President? I think he might even be above Supreme Commander. I think
Supreme Commander. If anyone knows Stargate, Supreme Commander. Have we got Matt in the house there? Good to see you, Matt. Howdy. And Fast Abdul, big shout out there. I'm here for the tech and the science. Good to see. All right, so welcome everybody. Don't forget to get in the chat there, say hello as well. This is a reaction video. I have posted the full video, so with no reaction, so you can check that out on Superman Crypto, on Kryptonite Show, and also on Pulse Chain X. So it's on 3 YouTube channels. I've just posted it to Rumble and Discord, and of course it is streaming live on X. So hope you guys are enjoying that. You can either watch both or however you like. But these are my reactions to the video from Richard Hart. Just came out, which is fantastic and wonderful news. We just keep getting winnings after winnings, and great to have Richard Hart, the founder there, looking very happy with his victory. And of course, we're getting a few little insights around Pulse Chain and crypto as well, which is pretty cool.
Anyway, yeah, probably you are. Probably that's your boss. Probably you should follow the law and orders, So, like, if the President of the United States says that cryptocurrency is a critical industry and it matters and you should try and help it instead of hurt it, probably you should try and help us instead of hurt us. And there's a lot of us out there, millions and millions and millions and millions. And that's why, I dislike gatekeepers. I dislike big corporate entities. I think cryptocurrency was invented to replace all those guys. But at least Coinbase is out there doing good lobbying and trying to get good laws passed. I'm not saying all their laws are good. I think they have an angle where they want to, make USDC better than other things because they make money on USDC. So I'm not saying every law they produce is great, but they are doing a lot of good work. with Paul Grewal. I'm not sure that's how you pronounce his name, but he's the chief legal officer over at Coinbase. These guys are filing cases against, they won a case in court against FinCEN to get Tornado Cash removed from the OFAC sanctions list. This is an example of a human being or a few human beings at the United States government chilling your speech, chilling your ability to associate with others, chilling your ability to do math and publish it publicly on the blockchain. A guy or a few guys in the United States made it impossible or illegal for you to do that. And then the court had to stop them and say, no, that's not okay. You can't list code that people run from their houses as though it were an entity to be sanctioned. And then they try and play games. They try and go, oh, okay, we'll stop, but don't put a judgment on us. We don't need an extra control. We're just going to stop on our own. The number of angles and lies and misleading things that you see the guys on the prosecutorial side do, it's just wild. You're like, why? Guys, there's laws, there's rules. I mean, I just heard in the Samurai case, I just heard that the prosecutors have a meeting set now with the judge, I believe tomorrow, regarding a Brady violation, which is where the prosecution hides evidence that would lend towards the innocence of the accused party.
Isn't that horrendous? I mean, it's just so much corruption out there these days. It's good to see that Trump's in there cleaning all this up, right, with Pam Bondi and the rest of the teams, the different agencies. So it's about time.
Apparently, FinCEN directly told DOJ that they didn't think Samurai would be considered a money transmitter because they didn't actually receive money. But then DOJ hid that for a couple years from the defense and from the judge, apparently. Go read the docket. Not a lawyer. Go read the docket. Just telling you the news of heard it. Yeah, like why, guys? You have the entire United States funding and machine behind you. Why are you lying and making the government look bad? There's no reason to be doing this lying. It's not necessary or ethical or moral or allowed. And, go look up what happened to the Securities and Exchange Commission in the debt box case where they had to pay the defendant's attorney fees and were sanctioned and then closed the office. The SEC closed the office that was handling that case. They just closed the whole office. Disgusting. So, just for record, I beat the SEC in court. Why?
Not only did he beat the SEC, but he beat he beat essentially the nightmare SEC under the Biden crime syndicate. I mean, essentially, he was up against a gangster organization, and that makes this even more sweet. It is quite impressive.
Well, man, go read the judge's ruling. Okay, I'm innocent. They said things about me that aren't true. That's not fair. And there's a standard that you have to meet. There's a lot of standards you have to meet. Let's focus on the positive things. Talking about the past and why things sucked, it's not really useful. We won, right? Let's focus on the next thing. I guess I mentioned some of these things because I want the United States to be a good place. And there's a lot of really cool people that live there that I want the best for. And the better the machine works, the better it is for everybody. If you have more guys spending their time screwing up real criminals, doing real evil, and not wasting their time trying to harm the good, honest people, publishing open source software that you can run or not from the comfort of your home, spreading ideas, doing research and publishing it, why would you interfere with that? It's just so wild to me. But the judge saw through it. Hopefully more judges, more places will do the same. The world would be a better place.
Well, we're expecting a whole new world now under the Trump SEC. So hopefully things are going to be a lot better. And of course, any law that was set with Richard Hart's case is going to be very, very useful moving forward as well.
So what should everybody focus on? I keep beating the same drum and then people just don't listen. For some reason, they don't listen. I don't know why. I tell you, what matters is marketing.
You guys have heard me say this over and over again the last couple of weeks. Promotion and marketing is so important. We've got to get the word out there. And I think we're getting a good movement happening on Pulse Chain across the board from all the different players. It's getting pretty exciting. We saw Rack and Michelle today with the PR program running. And of course, we've got people like Crypto Coffee and others out there doing a great job. So I think things are really starting to ramp up there. That Pulse Chain conference as well from RH Max, things like that. I think we're really starting to lay a really strong foundation again for the next move on Pulse Chain.
Ethereum should know that what matters marketing. The Bitcoin knows is what matters is marketing. You see Bitcoin on television all the time. It's constantly on television. Big ads. Everybody's talking about it all the time, which is why, even though it is ancient technology with very few features that is nearly useless for payments. No, you didn't just say that. Yeah, really, it is nearly useless for payments. You probably don't realize that because you haven't used it in so long. You don't remember how.
Yeah, last time we went on it, of course, we were talking about this. We were doing BRC20 tokens and other stuff like that. It was like 10, 12 minutes, sometimes 20, 30 minutes for a block to go through. Just insane. It's crazy. So, yeah, it's pretty crazy. Now we have chains that are, virtually in the milliseconds now, right? We have chains out there in a millisecond. So it's pretty crazy technology, the old Bitcoin.
It works. I'll brief you on how it works in a second. Right now, Pulse Chain has vastly superior features to Bitcoin. Vastly. No comparison. Higher throughput, lower fees, you name it. Like everything you want it to do, it does better, basically. I guess I'm going to actually go through the list. See, to me, I know this stuff so well, I don't want to spend.
The thing I like about this is kind of old classic Richard, and this is going to be fun.
Time going through this list. But for you guys watching at home, you might not know it so well. And also, because the Bitcoin guys have all the money, I don't really want to say bad things about Bitcoin. But I guess I have to, because otherwise, how do you make progress in life? If you choose inferior technology over superior technology, how are you supposed to make progress in life? Should we all say great things about cassette tapes because the cassette tape guys have all the money? Yeah, man, cassette tapes are awesome because those guys have all the money. Screw CDs, screw MP3s. No, it's not it's not honest. It's not ethical. Just tell the truth.
Do you guys remember cassette tapes out there? You used to put your finger in them and wind them back and all that stuff. The ribbon used to come out and then CDs came along. It was classic.
Bitcoin's price, better than almost any other price in crypto. Started the lowest, went the highest. But when I called the top many, many years ago at 65K, now it's 95K, you're up 50%. After a dip to 14K or 17K, went from 65 to 17. I mean, I don't know, man. Are you able to retire your family and create generational wealth off of a 1.5x? Probably not. So while Bitcoin is great and they've got the most awareness and they've got the most marketing, it is not good technology. Well, should I say it's not good? It is good technology, but it is slow, expensive, and has very few features.
So funny on this point, Anthony Pompliano, many of you may know him, was asked this today. Why is Bitcoin not already at 150? Now, I think 150K, but I think, it's on the cards for this year. So 150 to 250, definitely on the cards for this year. It's going to happen pretty quick, right? It's going to happen pretty quick. So that's kind of my answer. You can check out Anthony Pompliano for his one. But it's going to be fun year ahead of us.
And it's bad for the environment. No, you didn't say it was bad for the environment. Yeah, it's bad for the environment. You don't have to nuke the environment to maintain a consensus network. There's tons and tons of networks out there maintaining consensus just fine that aren't nuking the environment. Pulse Chain's one of them. You don't have to buy a miner from a magical, mystical miner company, of which there's only a few. You don't have to plug it into some giant, massive source of electricity. You don't have to suck the middleman D of the electric company and give them nearly all your profit to go hurt the environment. Oh, but no, we use renewable energy. Yes, I'm glad. Congrats. But even if it didn't hurt the environment, even if it was all renewable, it has a limit. And when you use up the renewable, somebody else can't. Maybe you could have been smelting aluminum, doing whatever else.
Well, you'll use a lot of power if you're going to do smelting aluminum, that's for sure.
And then you're also not going to have 100% renewable. And then why do you care to make the electricity company rich anyway, even if it was renewable? And guess what, man? What price do you think they're selling down in order to pay that electricity bill? They're selling coins to pay that electricity bill. Do you like them selling down the price, billions of dollars over a decade, to sell the price down for what? To what end? To enrich a few mining companies and a few electricity companies and a few facilities companies for what? To maintain a consensus network? We have proof of stake that works wonderfully well now. We do not need to blow up the environment or have expensive costs or have centralization in the form of mining networks like this Foundry network in the United States oftentimes has, I guess, nearly 50% or something, which ain't so great if you're worried about a 51% attack. But hey, like, man, I hate beating on Bitcoin, but like,
this is, Crypto Coffee was mentioning earlier that in the previous live stream earlier today, there's one of the reasons why Richard lost a few supporters out there amongst the Bitcoin maxi crowd back in 2019 or so. So yeah.
If you don't tell the truth about it, are you really going to have people buying superior tech? Are you? Probably not. So someone has to bite the bullet and tell the truth about the stuff. And yes, it sucks because they're all tribal and they're going to hate on you, but they were going to hate on you anyway. So you might as well just tell the truth, and then they're just going to hate you anyway. You know, Bitcoin's had more than one inflation bug. Pulse Chain has not. Bitcoin doesn't have stable coins on it that are worth a crap. Pulse Chain does. Bitcoin does not let you launch your own tokens easily. Pulse Chain does. Go to pump.tires. You can run your own code, launch your own coin like that.
Not only have we got pump tires, which from Richard, but we also got all these other protocols we've been covering on this channel, like Nexian and Axel and others. So it's a lot, kind of really high end token launch pads now. So it's really democratized tokens for everybody, and there's something that Crypto Coffee and I were talking about earlier today, was the fact that there's so many more coins around. I mean, even CoinGecko's got 17,000 coins listed on the index. So it's definitely a different aspect of this bull market coming up.
You can publish documents very easily on Pulse Chain. You can communicate and message other people on Pulse Chain. Like, you can have privacy and anonymity if you want. There's ZK-enabled privacy tech on Pulse Chain. These things do not exist on Bitcoin, and they are awesome, and they are progress, and it's a better tool. If you believe in toolboxes and you believe in empowering people to be able to do what they want to do to make their lives better, Pulse Chain has superior tech. Hex has superior tech. Pulse X has superior tech. Is there an on-chain exchange using Bitcoin to remove counterparty risk? Not that's any good, not at all. But there sure is on Pulse Chain. That's Pulse X, pulsex.com. So, and these are just like, there's so many more features. It's like nearly endless how many superior features there are. It has a better logo. It has a better name. I like the founder better. He's still here, still talking. Yo, Satoshi, where you at, bro? Satoshi, you win any cases in court to help set positive precedent and positive vibes for cryptocurrency at large? No. I did. Hi. Where you at, man? I'm right here. Where are you? Yeah. So, like, in the end, oh, by the way, to tell you how stupid cryptocurrency is, if you go on these sites where people go to discover new coins to get scammed by, so like, if you wanted to get scammed by Luna, it was right on the homepage. If you wanted to get scammed by Yams, it was right on the homepage. If you wanted to get scammed by a lot of different things, it was right on the homepage of a lot of different sites for you to get scammed by. But it wasn't on my homepage. I wasn't promoting that garbage. I wasn't promoting FTX. I was telling you to make sure your money wasn't on it. I wasn't promoting BlockFi. I was telling you to make sure your money wasn't on it. I wasn't telling you to use Celsius. I was telling you to get your money off of it because you're taking counterparty risk. You're going to lose. It's the opposite of why the blockchain was invented. I was right. They were wrong. But all the scumbags.
I just want to say something. This is where I think Richard is really, in his market calls, has been, no one's even got close to him as far as I'm ever aware. He called so many of the protocols, centralized protocols in particular, they all went down one after another. It was just unbelievable how accurate he was about all that. Some people can pick some of them, but he pretty much picked them all. It was pretty impressive.
Trash maggots that promoted all that stuff, they just continue to operate like it never happened. They're just like, oh yeah, we don't learn. We're not going to learn. I was right. You guys were wrong. Kneel, respect, learn, because I've been telling the truth and spreading it since before you got here. Period. Even Michael Saylor. I was promoting Bitcoin when Michael Saylor said it was going to fail like online gambling when they passed the port bill.
Yeah, now you got Michael Saylor with 555,000 Bitcoin and calling $30 million Bitcoin by 2045. How the world changed. How the world changed. And also trying to onboard the US government, right? I know that had a little bit of a setback today, but man, incredible.
Killed Party Poker or whatever. It's weird that the government just kills the whole industry with a law with a different name on it. Like Bank Secrecy Act, you have no secrecy. Patriot Act, you have less freedom, etc. You're just like, hey guys, why do you name these the opposite of what they mean? Like, what's up with that? Also, the magic numbers that they choose. You can travel with $10,000 across the border, but every year that $10,000 is worth less until the point where you're not going to be able to cross the border with enough money to buy a cheeseburger because 10K won't buy a cheeseburger. But the people in the government, they're just like, yeah, man, we didn't know inflation existed. So we just write these magic numbers that never update. They don't track inflation. Isn't that funny? What? And you want to go back and find out, like, which specific humans, I'll give you an example. Talk about beating the SEC. The SEC is not a thing. There's a couple of humans at the SEC. There's 5 commissioners at the SEC. If they followed their own rules, some portion of those 5 had to vote to bring an action. Which 5 are they? We don't know yet. Was it all 5? Was it 3? Did they miscount? Who knows? We should find out, right? Freedom of Information Act. They can't hide behind investigation privilege or whatever because case closed, homie. Like, the case gone. Bye-bye. So now Freedom of Information Act should allow to find out which of those 5 people.
Going to be interesting next steps, right? Let's see whether anyone will get held to account here with this next steps.
Decided to bring this silly thing. And then you try and assign blame. Like, okay, at this entity, who are the guilty parties and to what degree are each of them responsible? Hard to say. For instance, with this, like, who is the person that chose that 10K limit and why does it never move? And why are these magic numbers all over the place? And who are the people that made those mistakes? And did they ever apologize for it? Has anyone ever held them to account? Like, hey, you made everything in the world worse by not understanding inflation exists and choosing numbers that never update to account for it. Do you feel bad about that? Do you feel sorry about that? Have you ever tried to fix your mistake? Have you ever allocated any of your resources or time to undo the screw-ups that you've made in governance? And there's enough to go around, right? Like, there's bad laws all over the place globally, and I just never see anyone accepting responsibility. It's just like, man, anyway, I'm trying to make the world a better place. Speaking of making the world a better place, I raised $27 million for charity. Didn't give $27 million for charity, raised it. You guys gave $27 million for charity. You guys deserve the credit, and you guys gave your money to an entity or entities that are literally spending it on medical research to try and save your life. I love that. There's a lot of guys that say they support longevity, but when it comes time to raise the old money, they're not doing anything. You guys, me, Pulse Chain, you, together raised $27 million for medical research to save lives. Didn't get any press. One news article. No one saw it. No one cared. Life's not fair. So you know what? You gotta. It'll be fair if that research turns out to save some of our lives. That'd be pretty cool. You got to focus on marketing, guys. I can't express it to you enough. If you're not hearing people complain about your ads, no one's probably seeing them, or your message sucks. Because if you're out there advertising a strong message, true message, a wholesome message, the evil, stupid scum of the world will come and yell at you. And I don't think that many people are yelling, because I don't think that many people know you exist. How many people out there know that Pulse Chain is vastly superior to Bitcoin, has more opportunity, has more features, has better security track record? It's like infinitely superior. How many people know that? Not enough. Not enough. I've been in this industry before it was an industry. I've been in this before Bitcoin had a logo. I've been at this before Bitcoin had fees to transact on its network. I've been at this before you chose seed words to generate a secret phrase. Back when you installed the old Bitcoin wallet, it would just make 100 pairs of addresses and private keys. And if you overwrote it and used more than 100 pairs, it erased the old ones. And you didn't have a backup, you just lost all your money. That's how long I've been at this. So to understand that what we have now is an opportunity vastly superior to what I had when I first got into Bitcoin is amazing. On-chain exchange, ZK, zero knowledge tech, NFTs, communicating, messaging on chain. Like, bro, we have everything. We have everything. We have so much opportunity. We just need to tell people about it. And it's not a question of people want to participate. We know people want to participate because they buy absolute garbage. They buy absolute garbage. So if you give them the opportunity to buy something that's not garbage, maybe they'll participate. Maybe they'll transact. Maybe they'll associate. Maybe, like, the sky's the limit. You know, this is Turing complete technology that allows you to program whatever you want. It's a little slow. It's a little expensive. That's the price you pay for true decentralization and immutability and a record of truth. That's the price you pay. And a lot of people want to pay it, you know. I think somewhere within a few months after Hex launched, over 5 years ago, Ethereum was like $88. Yeah, the price is down from $5K, but it ain't $88. It's still $1,800. It's still, you know, an 18 or 20x from then. Well, we're crying with a loaf of bread on our arm, depending on how long you've been at this. So long story short.
I like that one. Cry with the loaf of bread on your arm. That's a good one.
The news is good. I hope that governments everywhere improve themselves. What more can I do than speak the truth and publish it to you? At great risk to myself, by the way. Look what happened to me personally, because I was willing to make a difference in this world. And look what happens to Donald Trump, and look what happens to Elon Musk, and look what happens to Joe Rogan. If you matter and you're trying to make this world a better place and you're making an impact and people are aware you exist, they're going to hate you. It comes with the game. And you've just got to be able to accept that trade. That just has to be a trade that you're willing to make. And it's a trade I'm willing to make. And that's why I'm here, and I'm proud to be speaking to you guys. And to tell you the truth, everything is far better than it needs to be. It's far better than Bitcoin is or ever was. How is Pulse Chain currently right now not better than Ethereum? Real question.
You know, just winding back a little bit with the SEC, it's a lot of pressure, right? You think about the amount of pressure you have a government agency or any legal claim against you, and then you ratchet it up to a government claim with a bunch of people that work there that are just nasty people. So yeah, you know, he stood up against all that, and that's a huge deal.
Does Ethereum have a feature that you wished that you had? It's what's that feature? L2 stealing your brand? Centralized mining, like where you give your coins to some entity and then they like stake them and then give you some yield. Like what is the feature? The feature I see that Ethereum has that I wish Pulse Chain had was good on-ramps. I like that. But minus the on-ramps, I guess they have a good privacy anonymity set for their zero knowledge, you know, privacy tech too. Pulse Chain doesn't have that. There's only two things I can think of. We've got higher throughput, we've got lower fees, we don't have L2 vampires. I think we have a more decentralized validation network. And I think we only would accept, I believe the Pulse Chain community and the validators on it would only accept tried and true tested upgrades from Ethereum, but Ethereum doesn't have that privilege. So Ethereum, when it upgrades, has to hope that the testing it did on its testnet worked right. And sometimes it doesn't. You know, Geth just recently pushed an emergency hotfix because people were getting slashed because they weren't signing transactions properly, something to that effect. Check the Richard Hart account, it tweeted about it. So if you had the opportunity, let me put it to you this way. When crypto gets back up and starts making new all-time highs again, what do you think is likely to go up more? Pulse Chain or Ethereum? Which one's lighter? Which one has a founder that speaks English? I'm making fun of you there, Vitalik. I love that you're focused on privacy tech. I love that you haven't done a Satoshi and disappeared. I love that you are still, battling and you're still out there working. A lot of people just stop and they disappear. A lot, a lot, a lot. I'm not one of those guys. Yeah, so I think we have massive opportunity in front of us. Like look at PulseX. The guys that bought the Uni token have been getting wrecked by the foundation there over and over. They dangle this thing like, we'll turn the fee switch on. You guys will be able to catch for some value. Well, that never happened. But then you look at PulseX and you're like, yeah, that buy and burn function.
Never happened because of greed, right? That's the simple answer to that one.
Burning coins like crazy is doing what is a superior thing as far as market economics go, right? Like people are deciding to reduce the supply by deciding to run code that destroys coins. Thanks, people that are deciding to do that. That's very nice. Since supply and demand exists, with static or increasing demand, you get increasing price based on lower supply. That's it. So I think PulseX is way cooler than Uni. I think Pulse Chain's way cooler than Ethereum. Thank you guys for being our testnet. We really appreciate the work that you guys do. Hopefully, we'll be able to give you guys some things that you can adopt as well if you want. But you ignore a lot of my advice. I told you L2s are stupid. You did it anyway. I told you increasing the S load was stupid. You did it anyway. I don't know, man. Like, there's a little bit of cultural difference, Ethereum's dual wielding vaccines. I'm not, there's a little bit of cultural difference. I like safe, secure, non-experimental things. And I'm not willing to push the limit or push the edge or risk security in order to get benefits no one cares about, or don't really move the needle.
Answers a lot of questions around the EP upgrades not happening. So some answers here.
So, long story short, I really do hope the Ethereum price goes up more than most people. I really do hope. I think I care more about the Ethereum price going up than Vitalik. I really do. So, but like, just like saying the truth about Bitcoin and its technical features, if you're afraid to speak the truth because you're afraid guys aren't going to buy, they weren't going to buy anyway. And it's the same with Ethereum. If you're afraid to tell the truth about Ethereum because you're afraid you're going to make somebody mad, bro, stop cucking yourself. They weren't going to buy anyway. So just speak the truth. There's a benefit to doing it. So everything's better than it's ever been as far as technology goes. You've got more features, you've got higher throughput, you've got lower fees. I mean, heck, even Ethereum has low fees now. Let me teach you something about fees. Could every company lower their profit margin to zero if they wanted to? Yeah, sure, I guess, unless you're already losing money, and then zero would look great to you. But if you're making money, you probably could lower your profit to zero. Is that good for your company? Maybe not, because then you can't pay for R&D, or you can't pay for marketing, or you destroy the industry so that other parties don't want to work with you because there's no profit in it left for them, right? There's a reason that a lot of manufacturers globally try to enforce an MSRP, manufactured suggested retail price, because guys have seen what happens when there's really a race to the bottom. And then, whereas you used to make money, now you don't make money anymore. Block space and blockchains are kind of the same thing. If it is true that supply and demand exists, then you, I believe, can underprice blockchain space. And when you price it too low, it ain't great. There's an ideal, a race to zero is not the ideal way for any organization to function that has other goals aside from price.
Well, coming back to the supply and demand, we've seen, I think we've seen cases where the beats on Pulse Chain have been up at 1 billion or something. And we've definitely seen it at hundreds of millions number. So definitely the market's definitely pricing that. And we've got a lot of, obviously a lot of botted kind of activity happening on Pulse Chain, impacting the Pulse Chain gas prices as well. We've come off that recently with the lower volume and perhaps more demure activity on the chain. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. Supply and demand can be pretty erratic.
So Would you have, well, I'll give you an example. Would you have preferred Ethereum to cost $1 to send a coin on, but have a $5,000 price? Or would you prefer Ethereum today, where it costs 2 cents to send a coin, but the price is $1,800? Now I'm making an assumption that those two things are directly tied together. That assumption is, specious. I don't even know if that's the right word. It's a big fancy word, $10 word right there. I think they are related. And I think the fees to transact, I think it's a reflective system. The fees to transact go up, people have to buy the coin. If people have to buy the coin, the price goes up. If the price goes up, people like the coin that has the price that goes up. So then they buy it, and then more people need to transact it, and then that moves the prices, and that leaves opportunity for ARB bots, and that leaves opportunity for traders, and people love volatility, and you get this ratcheting magnification effect.
Now, if you recall one thing that Richard said a long time ago back when he was streaming was that, as the chain gets more used more, it should get more valuable. In other words, the cost will go up to use it. And we've kind of seen that to some degree after, 714 days or whatever it's been. So pretty interesting commentary here about the gas prices and use.
Which is part of the reason why networks that price all of the other coins that launch in them in the native token have that reflexivity. They all go up together. But if you didn't have that mechanic and you had a token that was successful tied to a stable coin, if that coin became popular, people would have to, this is what happened with Trump coin, by the way. Trump was tied to stable coin on the Solana network. If you wanted to buy Trump, you would take your Solana and trade it for stable, and then the stable would buy the Trump, and you'd get the Trump, and the liquidity pool would get the stable. But in effect, all it did was sell a ton of Solana for stable. So if you tie coins to stables and they become popular on your network and they don't bring new money from the outside in and they just take the existing guys and get them to buy in, you just basically incentivized a bunch of people to buy stable. And is that why you're in cryptocurrency? To incentivize counterparty risk? Because a stable coin with an admin key that anyone could turn off, not anyone, but an admin or whoever stole his keys from him, could just deactivate your stable or all the stables. That ain't real stable, right? So it's not, the ideal reality for crypto isn't to be sitting in counterparty risk, it's to remove counterparty risk. And yes, we have volatility, but if it's mostly volatility to the upside, man, that's just fabulous, The history of Bitcoin's been mostly go up for 3 years, down for a year, up for 3 years, down for a year. Mostly. It's been mostly up. It's just how you go from something that costs nothing to.
All right, we've got about 10 minutes left in this video. I haven't seen any of this section since after about 12 minutes, so it's all brand new to me. And this, of course, just came out, I don't know, about an hour ago or so. It's just hot off the press, so pretty exciting to see Richard Hart coming out like this. Very, very cool. And is this the beginning of much, much more? It does seem that way.
That cost near $100,000 today. So I see limited value in talking about Ethereum to the Ethereans and talking about Bitcoin to the Bitcoiners, because the real opportunity is in the unwrecked. And the unwrecked are people that hold gold at all-time highs. And I guess Bitcoin near all-time highs. And I guess the S&P 500 near all-time highs, but I think it's in a pretty good dip right now. No one expected Trump to do the things he did. It was kind of a surprise. So the market's like, yo, what are you doing? Very interesting. So, long story short, what we have is amazing. If you guys talk about it, cool. If you don't, I'm willing to bet other people will. The only thing that's missing is marketing, and it's far better than it needs to be. And the opportunity is absolutely gigantic. It's bigger than.
Yeah, on this, this is where Rack and Rochelle's coming in with these PR companies, right? They have massive networks. We went through that list briefly on the first live stream today. And these guys see the picture, and the marketing promotion's going to be ramping up big time for Pulse Chain. I think that's kind of inevitable. We've got some big backers making that happen, as well as the risk community. It's going to get exciting, guys. It really is.
What you have with Bitcoin, in my opinion. You're up 50% from 4 or 5 years ago. It's not that great. It's better than being down, but it's not like gold at all-time highs. I mean, gold's up 50%. Gold went from 2K to 3,300, 3,400. That's better. I wish you guys could see my hands. I zoomed in too much. I'm using my hands and you can't see them. Unfortunate. I did this old thing like I used to in my very, very first videos, where I use like a triangular kind of light. Makes like an up arrow. So I was like, up arrow, that would make a cool shape in the iris here. What else? Anything else? Prices, Ethereum, opportunity, regulatory certainty. You can work with us or discover new competitors that are very competitive. Your call, guys. I mean, what's the only thing missing? On-ramp, privacy, anonymity set.
Well, we've obviously got the Sun Minimal on-ramp happening at the moment, and of course that's ramping up over the next sort of 24, 48 hours. We also talked about PulseTube today. I'm not sure if you saw that, but they basically run a huge platform covering all the YouTube and other influencers on X and other channels, TikTok and the likes. And of course, they're doing a whole new platform coming out, and that's going to be multi-chain, not just Pulse Chain. So it's going to get the word out about Pulse Chain over multiple chains. So we've got some pretty big stuff happening on multiple fronts. It really is getting exciting here.
Maybe some margin trading thing.
Well, margin trading, obviously we've got Famous at the moment there. Now, not a lot of people are using that as much as they were at the beginning. I think over 1,000 traders have used that so far. And we've obviously got Nexian coming up with 10x leverage on their Glow product coming up. And of course, we talked about Psycho's project for that. So he's the founder, of course, not just the Psycho, but he's the founder's name. And so that's coming up for Glow. That's going to be 10x on LP and tokens. So we have got some of that innovation happening with leverage. It's going to be pretty good.
Oh, by the way, like so many coins that launch just suck, and it doesn't matter if they're on Pulse Chain. They probably just suck. But like, it's just so suckville. Which is why I talk about so few things, because almost everything sucks. So I don't want to talk about it, you know? Another education. If new people come to your chain because they discovered you from some stupid thing, and that new stupid thing is tied to the native coin, then people will have to buy the native coin to get the new stupid thing. And it will lift the prices of all the things on your chain, or attempt to. It will put pressure in that direction. If, however, some stupid thing launches and new people from the outside aren't coming to buy it, and it's just existing people on the chain already buying the stupid thing, you've got a comparison to make. Who was more likely to have sold those coins and hurt the price? The person that just launched the stupid thing, or the people that were otherwise holding the coins? Now, I haven't done 100% perfect research, or I guess not that much research at all, but my gut feeling is, for some reason, the people that were holding the coins were more likely to keep holding them. That whenever a stupid founder launched some stupid thing and got rich for the first time, it seems like every single time that happens, they nuke the price, and then it sucks for everybody. So like when an exchange online got hacked for $1 billion and the hackers sold that $1 billion of Ethereum for whatever, that's $1 billion not in the order book waiting to buy. I mean, it's not that simple, but like if a dude sells $1 billion of a thing that you wanted to sell before you sell, the price you're going to get is going to suck. That's what's up. You can't just sell $1 billion of the thing and be like, it's not going to affect me. I'm going to sell after that guy. No, it sucks. Usually, got to wait a while for other people to buy back up that $1.5 billion or whatever. Not an exact science, but
I don't know. Is that similar to the recent OEM experience? We went from 6 billion down to 600 million. Now it's down at like 300 million. So I don't know.
Supply and demand exists. Supply and demand exists, and it works. And if someone increases the supply to the market by selling it, it hurts the price. Period. If you don't think that's true, go argue with every economics textbook in the history of man ever. The same thing happened like a week or two ago, maybe even just a week ago, where a guy got hacked for 330 million Bitcoin, and it got sold for Monero. I guess the hacker likes anonymity. Apparently, anonymity is a human right. Kind of interesting. Well,
And we've seen Monero performing pretty well the last week or so. I mean, it's been doing pretty awesome. So
anyway,
last couple of days.
It lifted the price of Monero, like I think it doubled or something. Maybe it went from like 2 to 400. I don't have the chart memorized, and then it dipped, but it didn't dip back to where it started. I think it dipped, retraced like half of it. I'm just like picturing a chart in my head, but I don't remember the prices exactly. I just remember up and then like down half, retraced half the move. When your coin gets nuked because somebody launched a stupid project and then sold the crap out of it, or it gets nuked because someone got hacked and sold the crap out of it, the price chart and the market and the supply and demand sees those things as the same. It just sees sell pressure. I've occasionally thought of addressing you guys as sell pressure. Hello, sell pressure. How are you today? Whining and crying and complaining while pressing sell? Are you yelling and complaining at people not pressing sell?
That is hilarious. It's so funny.
But I haven't done it. I haven't done it yet. But that's funny. I saw one time a long time ago, I saw a comment that said, beware ever getting a community because they're just a group of people that calls you a scammer anytime the price goes down. I hope our community is better than whatever community that guy was talking about. So, look, long story short, all of you guys could disappear, and this technology is still going to kick ass and be amazing. The only thing that's missing is the marketing, in my opinion. Absolute garbage is being bought by the billion because people heard about it. So, if you guys want to spend your time doing something similar to how I spend my time spreading the good word about free and open source software that could improve the world, there's even a discount for doing it. There's a lot of, having an educational charity that spreads the good word about things that might improve the world is looked upon positively in many jurisdictions. And there's financial incentives, grants, rewards, discounts, tax exemptions, you name it, for charitable things, So if spreading the good word about free and open source software that really could change man's relationship to government, that really could reduce the amount of war in the world, that really could increase efficiency, increase availability, decrease costs, increase features, improve trust. All of these things are what a well-designed and well-used blockchain bring. Now, do a lot of people use it the right way? Absolutely not. A lot of people are very dumb and do very dumb things. But you can't blame the technology for that. A lot of people accidentally shoot themselves. It's not usually the gun's fault. So what else? So I beat the SEC. Opportunity's huge. It's better than it needs to be. Only needs marketing. Is that it? Let me think. Hex, Pulse Chain, Pulse X, Pumped Out Tires. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's no reason I can't do more videos like this if something else pops in my head. So it's good hearing from you.
Well, that's pretty awesome. I mean, we could see a lot more of these videos, which would be very exciting, and I'm sure there'll be a lot more topics coming up.
Guys, silently, I'm just going to assume all you guys are out there saying wonderful, beautiful things. Yeah.
Hopefully all you are out there, because I think it's awesome. This is a great video, the comeback video here, and a lot of people have been waiting for this, and I think the market's reacting pretty nicely to it as well. We've talked about this last couple of weeks. There's so many positive things happening now. Turning point for Pulse Chain, and like I say, we're seeing a lot of marketing stuff, promotions looking like they're getting set up by Rack and Rochelle, by PulseTube, by a lot of the influencers out there, conferences. I mean, things really are turning for the upside here.
So it's good to be back, and I hope to make the world a better place. And I'm glad to hear that the Sens Foundation, or Aubrey de Grey's other foundation, is using money that was generated and raised by me and Pulse Chain and you guys in order to make the world a better place. It's really hopefully making an impact that a lot of other people aren't making. And I mean, if I died today, which is unlikely, because God, look how healthy I look. It's like, yeah, man. At least I raised $27 million for charity. At least I built free and open source software. I did the best I could. At least I did the best I could to set positive precedent for publishing free and open source software that allows you to publish and associate immutable truth online. Just awesome. All right, guys. Talk to you soon.
All right, so that was it from Richard Hart. Woohoo! 52 minutes and 55 seconds is that video. And it looks very much like that could be the first of many. How many we get, how often we get, another question, but certainly a positive start there from Richard Hart. And highlights, man. Bet the SEC against the odds. I mean, it's a tough thing. And not just any SEC, but like a very corrupt Biden SEC. And he did it. So fantastic job on that, as you guys know. So brilliant. And of course, talking about Pulse Chain in very opportunist theme there coming out about the bullishness ahead. And like I say, we've got so many projects launching. We've got tons of promotions and marketing being set up. And of course, all of you out there get to play a role. And it's just got like early Hex vibes in some ways as well, I feel. And we know where that went. So exciting times ahead. The other thing, of course, I am fairly bullish on where Ethereum will go as well. And that should lift all boats in the altcoin season. So it's going to be pretty exciting where that goes. Now, I see a couple of comments in the chat there from Tintop and Matt there talking about PDI and Bitcoin. Yeah, I think Richard's kind of put a lot of posts out about PDI, so you can check those out on Richard's post on his views on that. And of course, we're going to be interviewing Katie and the XUSD team tomorrow. You don't want to miss that. That's going to be a mega stream, and that will be exactly 24 hours from now. So you don't want to miss Katie there for the XUSD team. It's going to be massive. And we could have a couple of their team members there actually, and we could, they'll probably talk a little bit about the PDI stuff, but mainly about XUSD, and that's going to be a lot of fun for sure. Hope you guys enjoy this, my reaction video to Richard, and of course I'm over the moon that he's back, and I'm feeling hyper positive about where we're heading, and of course you guys know I cover that every single day on the live stream, so we're not going to miss out any more on that. Don't forget to check out Crypto Coffee's interview we just did a couple of hours ago. That was awesome. Big shout out to Crypto Coffee as always. And tomorrow we've got Katie from XUSD team. That is really innovative stablecoin tech that we're going to be talking about. Racker Michelle, the big whale, of course, holding #1 position in that. It's going to be a lot of fun. You don't want to miss that. A lot of insights from that for sure. All right, so I just want to give a big clap to Richard Hart's first video. The crowd will go wild. Yeah. Got to give it the horn as well. So we look forward to more videos from Richard, of course. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. I'll catch you again for my live show tomorrow and the XUSD show. 2 shows tomorrow. We did 3 shows today. I mean, come on. Things are on the move. Let's go. And I hope you guys have a good time. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, share, all that good stuff. And I'll catch you on tomorrow's show. Bye for now.